Welcome back to the channel and to another WNBA video. We got a 3-game slate to dive into for Tuesday, September 10th. So we're going to break down and analyze those games. We'll talk about which way that I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread. I'm also going to talk about any player props for those games that I found. And then any picks that I put in officially myself, I'm going to put right down there in that pinned comment. So make sure you check back in. That way you can see if you'd like to ride along with me. But before we get into these games, man, we got to go over what we took on Sunday. There was no games yesterday on Monday, but we'll go over our picks from Sunday, what we took and how that went down. Man, some days you just don't have a good day sports betting, right? Some days the odds just aren't in your favor. Man, Sunday was not one of those days. We sweep the board. Let's go, man. 5-0 on the night. We took Bridget over 9.5 points. It's a cash. Jackie Young under 13.5 points, and we cash. Took Kelsey Mitchell over 20.5 points. Another cash. Rakia Jackson under 1.5 3-pointers made. That one hits. And Alyssa Thomas over 26.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. And we cash on that one as well. A 5-0 sweep. Man, let's get it. Now let's get right back into it, guys. We got these 3 games to go over for today. We got the Minnesota Lynx taking on the Atlanta Dream. The Lynx are laying 5.5 for this one. The over-under is sitting at 160.5. Now the Dream, they're going to come into this one just 1 game back from that final playoff spot, but they have a tough matchup here at home against the Lynx. Minnesota has played 10 games since returning from the Olympic break. They've won 9 of those, but they have failed to cover in 3 of their last 4. Each of those 3 had them as favorites of 7.5 or more, however. The Dream, they're winners of just 4 of their last 10, but they have gone 6-3-1 to the number. So offensively, we have one team rolling and one team struggling. The Lynx are first in field goal percentage in their last 10, while the Dream are sitting at dead last. So Minnesota is second in 3-point percentage, while the Dream sit at just 8th. Atlanta has had some success on the boards. They're ranking 4th in both total rebounds per game and offensive rebounds. And they're sitting at 2nd in second chance points. The Lynx, they're middle of the pack 6 defending against second chance points, and they are giving up the 4th most offensive rebounds per game, but the 3rd fewest overall. They're forcing teams into the 4th most turnovers while scoring the 2nd most points off of turnovers. And Atlanta in their last 10, though, they are 1st in turnovers per game. They're giving up the fewest. These 2 teams, they played 3 times this year, with the Lynx winning in all of those, 2 of those by double digits. But I think Atlanta has a little more to play for in this one than Minnesota. They're fighting for a playoff spot while the Lynx are fighting for seeding. Which feels less important on the surface, but then when you dig into it and see that the difference in the 2nd and 3rd seed could mean playing the Fever in the first round, I'm not sure how less important it actually is, right? So, end of the day, Minnesota does have the much better team and the better depth. So I'm going to lean the Lynx here, laying the 5.5, but I'm cautiously leaning that way. Just because I'm not sure the Lynx care too hard about who they play, in the first round or in what round for that matter. I think they feel like they can beat anyone. And I think the Dream fighting for a playoff spot at home, it could be dangerous. But I'm not willing to put my money on Atlanta, man. I'm going to trust the Lynx and that depth and just all-around talent. So like I said, I'll lean the Lynx laying that 5.5 points. But I am cautiously leaning. For the total, I like the over here, man. The Lynx have had one of the better defensive units all year. Teams are only averaging 79 points per game against them on the season, but the Dream are just 7th in defensive rating over their last 10, and I feel like Minnesota could definitely get some points up here. It just feels like an under is risky sitting at this number here. Jump over here to Outlier. We have Alicia Gray sitting at over 2.5 on her assist prop. Now, it is definitely juiced at minus 150. We can catch that at Bet365 right now currently. But if we look at her in her last 5, man, she's hit this at a 80% rate, 4 of her last 5. And we can just kind of keep pushing it back a little bit further, right? If we want to look at her in her last 10, she's hitting at a 60% rate. It's just green across the board, and green is definitely good when we're looking here on Outlier, guys. In her last 20, push it back a little bit further, even 55%. But what I really love here, head-to-head against these Lynx, she is hitting at a 5 out of her last 6 rate. Her last 5 against Minnesota has hit over this 2.5 assist mark. And in her last 3 that they've played against Minnesota on the year this year, she has eclipsed that number. Now, we do got to keep it 100, man. That's what we do around here at the Guy Boston Sports Channel. I got to give you guys all sides of things. We do have to keep in mind that Minnesota that stingy defense of theirs, they are first in assists allowed for guards, first overall for assists allowed, right? They are holding, guards to the lowest, and just teams in general to the lowest assist allowed. But with that in mind, like I said, she has smacked this number in 5 of her last 6 games, the last 5 in a row against the Minnesota Lynx. And like I said, all 3 times that they've played this year. Now, granted, at that 2.5 line, she is just getting over the hump here in 2 of these 3 games that she's played. Well, she's getting over the hump, right? And this thing's juiced for a reason, man. The books agree that it's pretty likely that she hits this number here. The next, looking at the New York Liberty on the Dallas Wings. In Dallas, the Liberty are 9-point favorites. Under sitting at 172.5. After a 3-game win streak, the Wings have now dropped 4 straight. They are officially eliminated from the playoff race. They'll be back at home for the next 3, but back-to-back games at the house here versus the Liberty. So New York has won 8 of their last 10. Situationally, it just feels like a better spot for them overall as well. Obviously, they're the most situation. Rip, it's a better spot, right? But the Wings have played 5 games since August 30th. The Liberty, just 3. So definitely a rest advantage in play for New York as well. They're shooting the 4th highest percentage from the field, New York, the 5th highest from 3, while making the most 3-point field goals per game. They are averaging the 2nd most points per contest, 2nd in rebounds, their 2nd assist, and they are tied for first for assist to turnover ratio. New York's a damn good team, y'all. We know this, right? First in the league. The only issue for the Liberty coming into this one is the fact that Benaje Laney Hamilton is a game-time decision with a right knee injury after a collision on Sunday with the Aces. She just recently came back from injury, so not cool, man. Not fun to see, right? But it does seem like she has avoided a serious injury, so that's great at least. But I do feel like New York holds her out of this one, letting her rest up for the playoffs. Which they should, but yeah, just kind of a tough blow for New York and us as basketball fans, man. Benaje Laney Hamilton is a baller. New York is better with her out there on the court. Still a damn good team though with her, without her, but definitely going to need her for that playoff push. So I could definitely see her sitting for this one, even if she is able to go. Why risk it? What's New York playing for at this point? So with all that said, man, the Wings though. Look, they've just been terrible this season on defense. They've shown spurts offensively, right, throughout the year. They are 5th in field goal percentage. They're 7th in three-point percentage on the year. They are averaging a 4th best, just under 84 points per game. They give up a league high, though, 91 points per game on a 9th worst 35% shooting from deep and the worst 47% shooting from the field. The Wings are scoring the 2nd most points from the paint and the most second chance points off of the 2nd highest offensive rebounds. And the Liberty, man, they are just 8th defending against points in the paint. They are 1st against second chance points, though, and they're giving up the 2nd fewest offensive rebounds. So the Wings, they're giving up the 2nd most fast break points. That's an area that the Liberty lead the league in. Dallas turns the ball over at the 3rd highest rate, so the Liberty should get plenty of chances to get out on the break here. So I like New York here, but that 9 points, man, it's a lot to lay with a Liberty team that has struggled against larger spreads this year. We can find Dallas catching 10 on some sports books as well. Like I said, I do like the Liberty to win this game, and comfortably even, but, if you're going to give me 10 with a Dallas team that can put up points against a New York team that's only 2-13 to the number when they're double-digit favorites, well, then I got to lean Dallas. Feels crazy to say, but Dallas has covered in 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two teams as well. Like I said, man, New York 2-13 against the spread when double-digit favorites. So if I can catch that Dallas at 10, I like that one. I like that. For the total, I'll look over. Dallas can't cover a wall with paint, guys. They can score. They're not stopping no one. They look to push the pace, too, every time they step out on the court. So the Liberty should have ample opportunity to score here against this weak Dallas defense. And New York's defense has regressed some this last week, heading into the last portion of the regular season. They simply just don't have much to play for right now. They own a 3-game lead for first with 5 games to play. So, they just avoid an absolute collapse, and they're going to be the first seed in the W. I think they've let the foot off the gas some. especially on the defensive end. They're ranking just 7th in opponents' field goal percentage over the last 10. So definitely going to look to the over here. Might even take a look at both teams' team total overs, just depending on where we can catch that number at. So keep an eye on the pin comment. I might end up rolling with one of those. Let's jump right back over here to Outlier. I'm looking at Sabrina Ionescu, her points and assists over 23.5. Now we can get this on Prize Picks for minus 119 if you do not have Prize Picks available like me in Ohio. Come on, Ohio, get it together. Bet 365, we can find this for minus 125. So I do like this one here, man. In her last 5, she's hitting this at a 60% rate. And as we just go back a little bit further, that number jumps up. 70% in her last 10, 75% over her last 20. There's a whole lot of green down there, right? Whole lot of green. Then looking at her head-to-head against Dallas, now she has not played Dallas this year, but in the 3 games last year, she smacks over this number, like well over this number in 2 of the 3. And looking at this insight from Outlier, she has exceeded this 23.5 points plus assists in 11 of her last 12 games on the road. Just like I said, a whole lot of green down there, hitting at a 92% rate in her last 12 road games. And if we pop over here to the right, looking at Dallas, and their defense against points and assists, they rank dead last overall. And then against guards, man, doesn't get much better, right? Second to last for points allowed, dead last for assists allowed to one of the best guards in the league. I like our chances here. Like I said, minus 119 on Prize Picks, but if you can't get Prize Picks, we can find this on Bet 365 for minus 125 as well. Then the last game that I'm looking at is going to be the Connecticut Sun. Well, the last game on the slate, the third and final game of the slate. Hey, comment 3 down there for me, guys. This is the third game, man. Let me know that you've rode all the way through the video with me here. Or better yet, man, comment your favorite player of all time, any sport that wore the number 3. The answer for me, man, AI. But anyways, let's get back to it. Connecticut Sun laying 10.5 here against the Los Angeles Sparks in LA. We have an over-under sitting at 158.5. These two, they just met on Sunday. It was a 79-67 win for Connecticut here in LA. They're going to run it back again here for this one. The Sparks will be without Laisha Clarendon again with personal issues. And then they have Ari McDonald listed as questionable with an ankle injury as well. She will be a game-time decision. While the Sun have won just 6 of their last 10, the Sparks, they have dropped 9 of their last 10. They shot 50% from deep over the Sun on Sunday, but they gave up 19 turnovers to just 11 from Connecticut. The Sun won the rebound and assist battle as well, just completely controlling all aspects of that game. Man, I can't see too much of a difference here for this one. The Sun are fighting to get to that number 2 seed. They are just a game back of Minnesota. It's the third meeting on the year between these two as well, and the Sun have won all 3 so far by an average of just under 10 points per game. So I'm going to lean Connecticut here, laying the 9.5 points. And then looking at the total, each of the first 3 matchups landed under 150, well below this mark. So I don't think LA has what it takes to hang with the Sun defense. They've put up an average of just 66 points per game in the 3 played against the Sun this year. And then Connecticut is averaging just 77 points per game in their last 10, so I'm going to lean under in this one for sure. And we'll pop back over here to Outlier. We got Odyssey Sims of the Sparks. I'm looking at her points under 11.5. Now, fading Odyssey Sims on the points is a little scary for sure, but we got to dive into this and see why we're looking at it, man. If you look down here, we do see quite a bit of green, right? And she is a baller. She's a scorer. We hit on her over the other days. They had her down at over 9.5, and she cleared that with ease, man, right? But let's look at some of this here. The insight that we have from Outlier, she's failed to hit this 11.5 points in 15 of her last 19 games when she plays against top 5 defenses for points allowed. Some of these she's not even scoring, right? And then she's clocking well below this number as well. And then if we look at her in her last 5, man, she's hit under this mark in 60% of those games. We can push it back to her last 10. She's hit under this mark in 70%. Now, here's the thing that I like, man. We head over here to this head-to-head. Boy, the 2 games on the year she's hit under against the Sun. Looking at her in the last, 5 games overall, this is dating back to last year. She hasn't hit over this mark once, hitting under this mark at a 100% hit rate in her last 5. And if we look at the Sun, points allowed, first. Against guards, first. So you got to like our chances here with an under minus 115. We can catch that on FanDuel up against this Connecticut defense. I like our odds here. So, guys, that's going to wrap it up, man, here for another episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the content today. I hope you found it helpful and useful. And if you did, please do not forget to smash that like button down below. And please hit subscribe if you have not already. That way you don't miss out on any of the content that we are dropping here on a daily at the Guy Boston Sports Channel. And what a time to subscribe if you have not already, guys. We got WNBA. Obviously still in full swing. That's what we're doing right here, right? MLB still in action. You got Ev breaking down the games every single day. Tasso's coming with the player props as well. And then all three of us are dropping NFL content. I mean, man, like not on a daily, but man, it might as well be. It's almost like every single day there's a new NFL video coming out, say for what, maybe 1 or 2 days a week. So, man, if you're into the NFL, now's the time to hop on because, like I said, we got plenty of NFL content coming your guys' way, breaking down the Thursday night games, the Sunday night games, the Monday night games in their own separate videos. Evan Tassos are handling that, knocking it out. Ev's doing that whole full game slate for Sundays. Man, and I'm coming with a little pick six on Fridays, give you guys my best 6 picks that I found. So, like I said, a whole lot of action coming your way as far as the NFL. We can't forget Tassos is knocking out the college football as well, man. So just plenty of content. And the best thing, it's all free, guys. We're not charging. I can't say words. We're not charging for anything over here as far as picks. Hop into that pinned comment. They're going to be right there for you guys every single day. And we're going to recap the next day, too. So full transparency as well. Win or lose. Ain't no running and hiding, man. But, we obviously try to do a little bit more winning here than losing. That is the goal. So, like I said, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And that's going to do it, man. Hope we have another great night. Let's get back-to-back sweeps on the board. How lovely would that be? Regardless, guys, I hope you guys cash out. Best of luck, and I'll see you on the next video.